it's Christmas time at the Playhouse, and so we just have this throwaway line. In the middle of the Thursday matinee, a Salvation Army band began to play carols in the square, and Rose sent out a donation with a request for them to move further off. And that's a Beryl Bainbridge sentence. You think you're at Christmas and it's carols and it's lovely. And then there's just this deep misanthropy at the end of it.
Yeah. The doors to the literary salon are open for another week. In steps Susie Goldsbrough, Deputy Literary Editor of The Times. Hello, Susie, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well. I have my tub of taramasalata in hand.
Well, everybody should bring a little hors d'oeuvre to our proceedings. We're going to start off talking about Grown Ups by Marian Keyes. Now, this is a rather glorious novel, isn't it? And it's Marion doing what Marion does best, which is chucking a bunch of people together and defining each other's lives through them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. They're sort of really choral novels, aren't they? They're always based around a network of people, usually a family, a big Irish family, as this one is. And yeah, I totally agree. It's sort of Marion doing what Marion does best. And to me, part of what she does is she kind of settles you in very comfortably, and it feels sort of soft and welcoming, almost a comfort read. She's got this kind of lovely tone. Her dialogue's great, her characters are sort of warm. But then there's always some real darkness in there. And this is a dark book. It covers sort of partner loss and bulimia and tragic death. And she really kind of stares life in the teeth, but somehow it always feels like a bit of an escape to me, and that I think is her great skill.
I would absolutely agree. So when you start one of her books, I think you can think, oh, this is just going to be cosy and lovely. It's all going to be in a major key. But it is the minor key that comes into it that keeps you reading her books. And her books are long, aren't they? You have to dedicate yourself to a Marian Keyes.
You do, which sounds like a slog, but isn't. Although this time I read this one on audiobook, which was a real treat. She reads it herself in her lovely Cork accent, which I won't try and replicate here. But you kind of sink in, and you can kind of get lost in one over a whole weekend or a week or a few weeks, and that's part of the joy.
If people haven't read a Marian Keyes before, would this be a good one to start with, or should we go back to her earlier stuff?
No, I actually think this would be a great one to start with, because I think it's 2020. It's a more recent one, and she's just really at the top of her game. But then also, I know there's the telly adaptation of some of her earlier books just starting on the BBC, which are about the Walsh family. That's sort of Rachel's Holiday, that famous series. So you could also start there and then watch the TV show.
Right. We're going to move on to The Bottle Factory Outing by Beryl Bainbridge. My colleague has informed me that she's got a Beryl Bainbridge anecdote.
Right. Well, it's a bit limited, but Dame Beryl Bainbridge, she was made a dame, went to my school, and she was expelled for writing a limerick on the back of the loo door about the headmistress's knickers.
Can you tell us what the first line of the limerick was?
I'm afraid.
Is it too rude?
No, I mean, it was quite rude. I think it was relatively spicy. I think this must have been, judging by the age of Beryl Bainbridge, this would have been in the 1940s or 50s that she was expelled. But, I mean, it's a great shame that the school expelled easily its most revered... I mean, obviously, but it's most revered pupil.
Second most revered.
Well, no, let's not kid ourselves. But it is. I don't think it says a lot about the institution at the time that she got into such trouble for writing it. I think the headmistress was a formidable lady because her portrait hung in the hall. I remember she was called Miss Brash.
Miss Brash.
And I don't think...
well, that rhymes with rash.
Well, that's my issue.
Perhaps
I wonder,
that was the limerick. Yeah. Okay.
I wonder whether Beryl had simply gone too far.
That could have been a great limerick. Rhymes with trash as well, doesn't it? Can we name the school? I mean,
no,
it's
let's
easy
not.
for people to look up.
No, it's closed now. Anyway.
Okay, it's closed.
Beryl and I between us closed it.
Okay. It never recovered.
Well, it was a very good anecdote.
It was a great anecdote because
Thanks,
it
Susie.
sounds like something from a Beryl Bainbridge novel. So it gives readers a flavour. She sounds exactly like one of her own characters, which I think does make sense. Sort of known to be autobiographical. Yeah. But if you want more such anecdotes, read The Bottle Factory Outing.
Now, tell us a bit more about the book.
So I came to this one and another one, An Awfully Big Adventure, because Daunt Books are republishing a bunch of her novels next month, and they're doing a lovely job, so look out for that. And this one, The Bottle Factory Outing, is drawn from an incident in her own life where, I think it was in the 1970s, she was sort of dirt poor single mum living in Camden. She had a job at a bottle factory, bottling Italian wine, with mostly a bunch of young Italian male immigrants and a couple of girls who was her, including her. And the book is all about a sort of simple a day outing for the workers, where they're going to go and have a picnic at Windsor and have a lovely day. And that's often the case with the Beryl Bainbridge book. I think they sound, when you describe the plot, like kind of sweet, quite twee stories, which is kind of desperately misleading, because these are black as pitch, kind of macabre gothic horror, sort of pathologically unsentimental, I mean kind of brutally so, and just so brilliant.
Okay, An Awfully Big Adventure is another one by her that you'd like us to note. Same kind of thing?
Same kind of thing, or slightly softer, so might be a better one to start with. Also autobiographical. This one set in Liverpool in the 40s, where she was a child actor. She was actually in Coronation Street at one point, I think. But this is set in the Liverpool Playhouse about a kind of teenage girl who's doing bit parts and helping out backstage. And again, it sounds really sweet. It's about this repertory company trying to put on Peter Pan. But again, it's just one of the saddest novels you'll ever read, while being very funny. I want to give you a sense of how dark this is. Oh, may I please read out one sentence which I wrote down?
Oh God, please.
Okay. So at Christmas, it's Christmas time at the Playhouse, and so we just have this throwaway line. In the middle of the Thursday matinee, a Salvation Army band began to play carols in the square, and Rose sent out a donation with a request for them to move further off. And that's a Beryl Bainbridge sentence. You think you're at Christmas and it's carols and it's lovely, and then there's just this deep misanthropy at the end of it. Yeah.
And so when was she at her most prolific? Because both of those novels are about young women, aren't they? Did she equally write about the ageing process in women? She
did. I think so. She was extremely prolific. And she wrote 18 novels, I think, and she was shortlisted for the Booker 5 times. She wrote a bunch of novels early in her career about young women, which were autobiographical. And then I think there are some with slightly older protagonists, but what she really did was move on to historical fiction. So she kind of ran out of her own material and started writing novels about, there's one about young Adolf Hitler. There's one about an elderly Victorian curate who murdered his wife. You see again the kind of Bainbridge sensibility. So her historical novels are also a lot of fun.
It was Young Adolf, I think, that book.
Young Adolf, exactly, yeah.
I think, wasn't that based on the rumour that Hitler had come to Liverpool?
Exactly, yeah. It's about Hitler getting into scrapes in Liverpool. I mean, you have to have a certain sense of humour to like these sort of books, but I think what's odd is how little she's read now, given how fantastically popular she was, 30 years ago, which is why I think Dawn republishing this is kind of exciting. But yeah, if you like really, really bluntly dark books, which not everyone does, but I do, these are certainly worth looking at.
Well, I think those are fantastic recommendations. Also, how cruel to be nominated 5 times.
Book a Bridesmaid.
But never to win. You'd just give up going to the ceremony, wouldn't you?
I know. I don't think she did, though, and it's a shame, because she was a great public figure, and she was really she came up with so many brilliant quips. I think she once said that she hated contemporary fiction. She'd only read from Graham Greene backwards, which is a nice line. And so she would have given a great speech. She would have been drunk. She would have been smoking. It really says a lot about the Booker judges, I think, rather than Beryl.
Yeah. Didn't she? I think she had some stuffed animals in her hall or something.
Did she? I didn't know that.
I never met her or anything, but I've always been fascinated by her. And I know she did have this incredibly gloomy house in Camden, which she had filled with various taxidermy
Gothic
tributes.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, which kind of fits in, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, yeah.
Was one of them filmed or televised? I think it was An Awfully Big Adventure. Was that
It was, yes, with some quite well-known actors who escape me now in this moment.
Well, we'll look it up in a moment. You
Please.
Can't know everything. I was interested earlier when you said that you had listened to a book you claim to have read. Do you count listening to an audiobook as reading? No, I'm interested, because I know a lot of people say they're a bit sniffy about audiobooks, but you would say you have read the book if you've listened to it.
I mean, I think, at the end of the day, I've seen every struggling for language here. I've kind of ingested every word to the same extent, so I do think it does count. It does. I know what you mean, that it feels like cheating, but that's quite nice.
Yeah, I'm not judging you at all. I mean, I listen to my audiobook every time I get on the tube. Yeah, I'm there.
takes you away from the tube, which is really all you need.
Well, yes, it does. It does, which
And
can be a
what
blessing.
happens, I'm not a convert to audiobooks at all. I just can't keep the information in. I really enjoy the actual process of reading. And one of the things that I love is that I can pause if I just need to have a bit of a think about something. Or if I've read something just really amazing, I can just read it again and laugh again or cry again or whatever it is. So what happens when you're listening to a book? Do you do the same thing? Do you pause it to have a bit of a kind of moment with the words?
You can do, can't you?
Yeah, you can. I think you're right. That's something that reading's better for, because it's a little bit of a faff to pause and go back, and sometimes you realise you have missed a bit and you have to do that, and that's slightly annoying. But then it just does have these other advantages, like you're doing the washing up and you're so bored, and it just sort of feels like a little cheat that you're reading while you're doing something else. I think that's kind of great.
Yeah, I wouldn't condemn it at all. I just think it's horses for courses.
Yeah.
I can't do the Kindle thing either.
Oh, no. But it's nice to have real books, isn't it? 'Cause they look good on shelves. I'm very shallow.
Well, yeah, I like the touchy-feely bit of them, and also seeing how far I've got in a book. That's sometimes... Well, no, sometimes it's the only thing I accomplish in a day, Susie. I've done a centimetre of a novel. That's it.
I should say I'm interviewing one of my favourite authors this week. Ellie Griffiths is back.
Oh, yeah.
With
Great
one
Ellie
of
Griffiths.
I love Ellie Griffiths, and she's got this. It's another of her time travelling books. Have you ever read the book? It's The Killing Time is her new one, and the previous one was the first one in this time travelling series. And honestly, she does have a way of convincing you that time travel is by no means an impossible feat, and we probably could all be doing it quite soon. And I'm keen to have a go.
I look forward to it.
Who's the main protagonist in
Ali
that?
Dawson is
Okay.
she's
Yes.
a detective who works for a secret police unit.
And this is now quite an in conversation here, but if you've taken to her books
Yes.
and Ali as the heroine,
Yeah.
does it mean that you have to push aside Dr. Ruth Galloway, who has to be surely one of the best creations in crime fiction ever?
No, you can like them both.
Can you, though,
Yeah.
genuinely?
Yes, they're very different women.
But Ruth can't time travel, so do you
No,
look
she
back on her
can't.
and
Well,
just
she
think
can
she's a
time
bit
travel.
linear?
She's an archaeologist, don't forget.
Good.
So she is time travelling.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, look, we went right into the weeds there with Susie, and we enjoyed it very much, and we'll come
Whether
back
anyone
out.
else did is questionable.
It's all right, we've got car insurance next. A return to reality. We were talking about Grown Ups by Marion Keyes and two of Beryl Bainbridge's novels. The first one, The Bottle Factory Outing, and the second one, An Awfully Big Adventure. Susie, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
At ease.
It's good.
Stuffed peppers next time, please.
I think it's good that Old Beryl's getting a reprint and a relaunch. It's good. Good for her.